Hello everyone, welcome to this class. Today I'm going to be talking about les pronoms d'objet et les pronoms compléments. So for the last couple of days we have been talking about these first two here, I and en, and today I'm going to show you more examples. Before I can talk about the rest of the pronouns I have for you here, le, la, les, l'apostrophe, lui, and leur. But first, let me show you some examples with the first two pronouns, I and en. Here we go. Alors, le pronom d'objet I and en. So I we know is used to replace a noun or a group of nouns, usually that start with these keywords a, au, à la, au, chez, or en, such as this example here, elle va en Espagne. You can see my keyword is right before Espagne. Elle va en Espagne. When I replaced it, so my sentence looks like this, elle y va. In the second example, je vais à la plage, I go to the beach, and here's my keyword again, à. Alors, I'm going to replace à la plage and by I, so it looks like this, j'y vais. In the last example, nous allons à l'école, and here's that keyword again, à, before école, à l'école, we go to school, and I replace that with I, so nous y allons. Notice that I, the pronoun I, is placed directly before the verb. In the first example, elle y va, and in the second example, j'y vais, and in the third example, nous y allons. So it goes right before the verb. The other pronoun non, en, is also used to replace a noun, a nom, or a group of nouns, un groupe nominal, usually that start with these keywords here, de, la, du, des, un, deux, trois, quelques, or plusieurs. So these are very important keywords you need to look for when you want to know which pronoun you need to substitute a noun or a group of nouns. Alors, voici quelques exemples. Here are some examples. Elle a mangé la plupart du gâteau. So here I have my keyword du gâteau. She ate most of the cake. I'm going to replace du gâteau by en. Elle en a mangé. And in this sentence is saying that she ate most of the cake. So I have an expression of quantity that indicates how much cake she had. Alors, la plupart is the expression of quantity, and I'm going to take it and place it at the end of my sentence. Elle en a mangé la plupart. The second example, nous avons acheté quelques livres. We bought a few books. Again, I'm going to replace livre by en. Nous en avons acheté. And also here I have an expression of quantity that indicates how many books we bought. Alors, I'm going to replace, put that expression of quantity here also at the end of my sentence. Nous en avons acheté quelques-uns. And un is added after a hyphen to refer to the books. Books is here a masculine plural noun, so I use un. If the noun I have replaced here was feminine plural, I would use une, d'accord? In the third example, ils ont visité plusieurs villes européennes. They visited several European cities. I have replaced ville européenne by en. Ils en ont visité. And again, here I have an expression of quantity that indicates how many cities they visited. Alors, several, plusieurs is the expression. I'm going to add it to my sentence at the very end. Ils en ont visité plusieurs. My fourth example, j'ai bu du café au lait. I drank some coffee with milk. Alors, I have replaced du café au lait, and I have that expression, that keyword right here, du. So I replaced it with en, j'en ai bu. Now in the sentence, I did not say how much coffee I had. I just said coffee. So I have no expression of quantity. Donc the answer is j'en ai bu. D'accord? There is no expression of quantity. Okay, now we're going to talk about les pronoms compléments. Now these pronouns here, le is for masculin, la is for féminin, les is for pluriel, and then an apostrophe is used whenever there's a vowel. A noun starts with vowel. Alors these pronouns here are used to replace a direct object. Un complément d'objet direct, COD right here stands for complément d'objet direct. And this complément d'objet direct usually also starts with keywords. There are also always keywords to look for. Le, la, les, elle, apostrophe, ce, cette, c'est, ma, mon, or mes. Like in the first sentence here, j'envoie cette lettre. I send or I'm sending this letter. So I have replaced cette lettre by la. However, because my verb starts with vowel, I need to use the apostrophe. Remember, we said we use the apostrophe whenever there's a noun or a word that starts with vowel. Alors, je l'envoie. Je prends mes livres, I take my books. I am going to replace mes livres, my direct object here, with les because that's pluriel. Alors, je prends mes livres, je les prends. Again, my pronoun is placed before the verb. In the next example, je ne connais pas ce monsieur. I don't know this man. No, this is a masculine noun, so I need to replace it with le. Je ne le connais pas, and le goes before the verb again. And then the last example, j'aime ma mère, I love my mother. So I'm going to replace ma mère with la. However, because I have a verb again that starts with vowel, so I need to use apostrophe. Je l'aime. Now something to remember is that un complément d'objet direct answers the questions what or who, d'accord? This is why it's called complément d'objet direct. Now, what happens when we have passé composé? You have to be careful to the past participle, d'accord? Like in these examples here, j'ai fait mes devoirs, I did my homework. Mes devoirs is pluriel, so I need to use les to replace it, and it goes before the verb again. However, my past participle takes an S. The reason why it takes an S because the noun it refers to is pluriel. In the next example, elle a lavé la voiture. So I replaced la voiture with la, but since I have a verb that's a vowel, I'm using an apostrophe and it's placed before the verb. Elle a lavé. Now notice laver takes an E because it refers to a feminine noun, la voiture. In the third example, nous avons pris la vieille route. We took the old road. And I'm going to replace, I have replaced la vieille route with la, but I have again a verb that starts with vowel. So I'm using apostrophe L. And prise takes an E because this past participle has to agree with this, which happens to be a feminine noun. Donc I have to add an E, prise. In the next example, elle a oublié ses clés. She forgot her keys. So, ses clés is pluriel. So, I need to replace it with les. Elle les a oubliées. And my past participle here again has to agree with this noun, which happens to be pluriel. So, I need to add an S. And I hope you remember that famous rule which says that the past participle has to agree in gender, right? And in number with the noun that it is referring to. Okay. Now, the other two pronouns, les pronoms lui and leur. Lui means him or her. Leur means them. And these two here are used to replace an indirect object, un complément d'objet indirect that start with the following keywords, a, au, pour, or avec, such as these examples here. Je rends visite à mes cousins. I pay or I visit my cousin. So I'm going to replace mes cousins with leur because this is my plural pronoun. Je leur rends visite. And leur, again, is placed before my verb. Je leur rends visite. Next example, tu voyages avec Pierre. You travel with Pierre. So I need to use lui because that's singulier. Pierre is one person. Tu voyages avec lui. And this is a question. Do you travel with him? In the third example, nous avons téléphoné aux voisins. We call them neighbors. Again, I have a plural noun here and I need to replace it with leur. Nous leur avons téléphoné. And leur, again, is placed before the verb. Nous leur avons téléphoné. Unlike the direct object, okay, un complément d'objet indirect answers the questions to whom, for whom, with whom, sometimes to what, for what, or with what. D'accord? Now, let's look at this exception. We know that almost in grammar, every rule has an exception, and this is one of them. You have to be careful when you are looking at certain verbs, d'accord? Such as here we have travailler pour, penser à, parler de, d'accord? When you are dealing with these type of verbs, you have to be careful which pronoun you need to use to substitute for those indirect objects. Alors, je travaille pour mes parents. The answer is je travaille pour eux instead of leur. And the second example, je pense à ma mère, je pense à elle instead of lui. And then in the third example, nous parlons du voisin, nous parlons de lui. There are certain verbs that go with certain pronouns, and I'm going to show you a chart. So here's the chart. These two pronouns, lui and leur, are always used with these verbs here, d'accord? And then these pronouns, lui, elle, et eux, are used with these verbs here. So you would say, je pense à mes parents, je pense à eux. Je rends visite à ma grand-mère, je lui rends visite. D'accord? So these verbs are very important to be able to identify the pronoun you need to use each time. Alors, lui and leur, more examples. Here I have used some passé composé. J'ai parlé au prof, so au prof, I replace it with lui, je lui ai parlé. Tu as téléphoné à Sylvie, I replace it with lui, tu lui as téléphoné. And I have included two sentences for you guys for practice, so your job is to replace the highlighted words with either lui or leur. That's your job. This is your practice. And we can go over your answers tomorrow in class. Now, what happens when we have more than one pronoun in a sentence? You have to follow this a certain order. So, for example, I have these 4 sentences for you. I have also color-coded the words that I have replaced to show you the exact order in which they are placed. Alors, elle prête son CD à Pierre. I replace son CD with le. And Pierre with lui, elle le lui prête. Nous écrivons la lettre au prof, pardon, au directeur, la lettre was replaced by la, directeur was replaced by lui, nous la lui écrivons. Il écrit le poème à sa copine, le poème is replaced by lui, sa copine, pardon, poème is replaced by le, copine is replaced by lui, il le lui a écrit. And then tu donnes ton adresse au voisin, ton adresse is replaced by la, and voisin is replaced by leur. And you can see the same order is in both sentences. D'accord? The order in which the pronouns are placed is the same order in which the nouns were in the original sentence. Alors, this is your practice. Actually, this is your homework. So this is what you're going to do tonight. And we can go verify your answers tomorrow when I see you in class. So this is your job, is to replace the highlighted parts here in these 6 sentences with one of the pronouns that you guys have studied today in this lesson. So I hope this lesson was helpful. If you have questions, please make sure you ask tomorrow. And thank you for watching, and I will see you tomorrow to go over this and make sure there are no questions. Thank you for watching.